Hey everyone, it's How-To Videos back again. This is my Eufy E18 update, about 2 months in. As you can see from the highlights here, it's better, but it's still not great, still not perfect, but I'm happy that Eufy customer support is listening and they are taking my recommendations and kind of all the problems I've encountered into account here. So I want to go through some of the improvements they've released since at least this was sent out and the initial kind of what you call like a semi-beta phase. Now it's to the general public, but the mapping by zone has been really helpful. As you know, I had really been pissed off and just, not thrilled of like, oh, it takes 4 days to cut my lawn. Like, what the heck? I mean, you've got to do a better job than that, especially if it's like, oh, we can accommodate whatever it was. Like, I'm close to the limits, the thresholds of, I think it's like 12,500 square foot converts to about a third of an acre or 3/10 of an acre. So I was went on Reddit, did some homework, and ultimately found out the best way to do this. Thanks to everyone on Reddit, the community there had at least indicated go by zone. Take this, dive in, and I started with like 2 zones, 3 zones, and I mean it took about a week or two till I'm like, let me just make 10 different zones so the robot can tackle them one by one and ensure that they are cut within that hour and a half to 2 hour. It's getting close to 2 hours now that I've changed the blade speed from fast down to standard, but I just wanted to go, and of course you see the robot working here. This is some of the trickiest parts of my yard. See how it navigates the at least rock wall / fence and then all the other obstacles it does encounter, and it gets stuck along the way. You see the wheels, it's just kind of thinking. One of the complaints, or at least concern, it spends a lot of time just kind of looking around, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just start mowing. Yeah, so I think another one I wanted to mention was the fact that it does get stuck more often than I had presumed, given it is within the recommendations tolerance-wise for the height, the slope. It's not going anywhere. Like, it should be able to detect, like, hey, there's a cliff in front of it. Like, figure a way to use your AI, map around it. I'm pointing out to the exact area. I don't think it gets stuck on this video, but you kind of see in the areas that it was getting stuck. It's not like, hey, it can't climb a hill. I get it. I'm pushing the mower beyond its limits, but just the fact that I'm taking the mower and it's not learning. Like, it would highlight on the map where it got stuck, but it wouldn't create a wide enough no-go zone, or even any kind of a no-go zone. I'm like, well, my Roborock vacuum, when it gets stuck in a certain area, it creates a wide enough no-go zone so it doesn't get stuck. Like, you see all these ones I've had to pop up along the screen, and I've had to modify them every time it gets stuck. Like, all right, make them bigger, and now it's taking away from some of the cutting area, which is frustrating to me, where it should have enough knowledge. Okay, let's go right to the limit. Or, it's one thing if it's being conservative, but it's not doing any of that. So that's pretty frustrating and, of course, disappointing at the same time. Just do have to call out the fact that I also changed the spacing. I learned along the way. I had it at, I think it was like the normal 3.7, but I lowered it down to 3.1 because I was having too many issues. If I showed you some of the prior cuttings, maybe about a month ago, it was running into the same error, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's missing parts of a cut. I would come walk over it. I'm like, well, what the heck? There's grass clearly that should have been cut, and it's missing in the map too. So I made the spacing tighter, and it seemed that it didn't have an impact on time. It still cut the zone in 2 hours. Like, it would just continue to going back over different areas and not getting the area where it should have got, where it knew it missed. Now it's like, all right, you see my maps, like I'll show you some of the last ones, like they're pretty tight. There's maybe a little bit of a sliver in a certain part of a section that may have missed, but I'm happy about that. So yeah, I also have to say that the scheduling has been improved. Like, I had to work with the Eufy support team, but they did provide the adequate, at least attention to my concerns, where it was like, hey, I set him to mow on zones 1, 2, 3, and it rained yesterday and it missed. Like, the robot should know enough. Like, even though on Tuesday was mowing zones 3, 4, 5, or whatever the case was, it didn't have that in its mind. It was like, yeah, go back and kind of get them because they're going to keep growing. So ultimately, have them now all set to mow every single zone every single day, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10. You see here I have different names used, but it is helpful that it does kind of go back to the dock, charge, and then resume the next. It had issues in the beginning where it wouldn't resume, where it last left. If it encountered any kind of an error, like, oh, got stuck, or it's not able to reach its target, or some nonsense error came up, it would just then default and try to cut the whole zone again from scratch. And I'm like, come on, like, knew what you just did, take it into account, and we'll go from there. The other one I wanted to discuss was the path direction by zone. This is huge because you see my yard. They made some of the zones more compact. I'm like, all right, I know you wanted to make the least amount of turn. Shout out to, I think, Paradise Robotics on Reddit that at least let me know more about this topic itself. It's very slow when you see it turns around. When it's going in a straight direction, I can get, I think, 22, almost 2,300 square feet in a cut, but that's just like going back and forth, minimal turns. So that's where I shifted my attention to, and then remap some of the zones, and that has also helped cut down the time. So I think these are things that Eufy should have mentioned instead of just having these influencers like, oh, it cuts my lawn in 5 seconds. Woo! Like, come on, dude. Like, let's be real with the population here. That's not how things are working, and we also need to talk about the real 3D mapping. This is a neat feature, and I'll show you the screenshot up here right now on the right-hand side. This is so cool. Like, it's almost a Google Maps view of my lawn. I mean, I don't think any of their robotic lawnmowers are pumping this out at the moment. I don't know why they don't let you switch the feature on the map. I can only look at the map like a standard boring mode, kind of this standard option. But this is available when you go in to edit your map. I'm like, oh, great. I mean, and this kind of gets me back to the point of my garden. Now, the garden is a significant issue in that it's kind of gone backwards. Look at my first video, the mapping, all the editing. The garden was 2 rectangular shapes. Cool, right? I mean, that's how it should be. And now it's kind of disappeared. And there's no, I mean, every time it mows there, it changes. It gets bigger, it gets smaller. It doesn't ever have the actual garden mapped. It just kind of shows me some blobs there. Maybe there's a bit of white, bit of black. So I don't know when it's done. Like, oh, I can kind of see where it's turning around. Okay, I guess it's hitting the garden, and it does a fantastic job. Although, I've gotten annoyed because, at the same time, it's like, well, you're enhancing your maps, but they're getting worse. And they're like, oh, go load your prior map. That didn't do anything. I loaded it, then it just rewrote it the next time it cut, and it disappeared. It's picking up things like the rock wall. So, I mean, that's nice. However, it doesn't pick up like my deck or my shed. It just has like a blob in the back right-hand corner of my yard. There's a blob there. And if you look at the real map, there's a shed. And the same thing with the deck. It's like kind of has somewhat of the outline. And when it cuts, of course, it makes a nice rectangular cut around the deck. So things that they need to work on, I mean, of course, are these pet peeves, perhaps. But if you're going to roll out this real map thing, make sure you do a good job and make it a feature that we can choose for our robot, Eufy, if you're listening. I think lastly, the last part of the video, so the last clip I have here, the robot, it maps out my fence on the right-hand side, and it looks like there's more grass to cut, and it misses it. So I'm always confused. I'm like, did it miss? I had the settings set all the way to like 5.9. And I try to back it off about maybe, I think, 3.7, 3.1. Maybe it's going to get less stuck in this case. That may be the case why I was getting stuck on the area near the rock wall, was being a bit too overzealous and going too close. Not to the edge, not going to fall off the wall, but like it would just get stuck in that trench down there. So I think the one last point I wanted to make is, it misses random parts of the map. I don't know why. Like my Roborock vacuum, I have another video coming out for that one. It never misses. It goes back and it makes sure, I mean, it should be able to recognize, like, hey, if it didn't cut this clean, like, it should be able to see the grass blades where it cut. Like, oh, yeah, these aren't registering at 3. Like, you've got the software, and if it can pick up on, carpet, this, that, there's got to be a way to identify, like, on the map, it may thought it has cut. So, make a recommendation, either go back again, your pathing is too crazy, you need to tighten it up, or increase the blade speed. So these are things I think would be really helpful to have in the next iteration of the software. And, you guys are geniuses, Eufy as well, with these vacuums. I don't own a Eufy vacuum, but they should be able to put this together in some sort of a firmware update. Because I'm hearing the Terramow people that I talk to are all saying, yeah, my robot mower is much quicker. It handles the job much faster. I'm like, what gives? I mean, why are all these enhancements and improvements not rolled out faster to ours? I mean, Eufy, in theory, should have a much smart, more robust, and at least the customer support team in place that can tackle all this and get it to the public as quick as possible. I mean, I think that would be in their best interest to keep the momentum going for this robot. 'Cause I'm sure they'll release some enhanced, better battery, faster mower. And I think the last part would be, I'm going to put spikes on. I got them from Amazon, and I'll do another video on that. That's the last thing I want to mention. Like, I get stuck going up the hill sometimes, or chews up my grass, and I'm like, I think with spikes it wouldn't have as much of an issue just tearing up my grass. It would hopefully get the requisite traction and go. So a number of things I've thrown out there, but I think at this point in time, Robot's done a great job. I'm happy with it. I'm excited that Eufy is listening and they're working with you and not just giving you some automated response like, oh, we'll get back to you in 7 to 10 days. I think also the fact that it's uploading the logs. They were able, like, oh, give me your serial number, like checking my logs, like, oh, okay, we're going to fix this. And they're actually going to review my logs specifically. So that's exciting that they are listening. And so if there's any other comments, recommendations, suggestions, guys, let me know. Want to do another video probably towards the end of the summer when there's another pretty significant update. If it does improve or enhance cut time, just let everyone know, like, hey, this may be the deciding factor. Because of now, like, if I was to buy one again, I probably wouldn't. And I think, I'm happy with it and I'll keep it. But, I would probably wait until next year when they get these things all worked out. Because I have to, like, a lot of times it gets stuck. I got to go back, move it, pick it up. I'm like, I'm going to go adjust the map and no go. It's like, really? And I still have to do a lot of at least trimming or weed-whacking. I have like 700 feet of fence, which if someone solves that, great. But it would be nice for one of these mowers to actually employ like a spinning robotic mower blade, not these little razor blades that they all use. But I think the Terramow has that, where you can really chop. Is like in the fall, I'm worried about leaves. Like, what the heck are these little razor blades going to do to leaves? I'm going to have to go back and use my mower at that point and just kind of bag everything up. Or, I don't know, run the mower twice as often as possible, or have it, I don't know, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Hey everyone, if you like what you saw today, just make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, as always, appreciate your feedback. And yeah, I think this is a great concept to really talk about, given there's so much new to this, not only within the robotic lawnmower space, but the fact that it's becoming more and more prevalent. And I think as these gain popularity and become more mainstream, I think you'll have at least other options out there. With the Limo coming up, I've heard other feedback regarding the Yarbo. Yeah, have an open discussion, conversation. If anyone has any thoughts, feel free, reach out to me. Again, how-to videos. Thanks again.